Hello Year 9. We've reached the final couple of lessons of term, and actually of the year. So what we're going to do is we're going to do some of the everyday maths sections from the textbook for our last couple of lessons. I'm going to do the video for both lessons in one because it's all related. I'm going to be looking at chapter 17 in the Caboodle book, or your 3C book, which starts I think on page 304. However, we're going to do section 17b and 17e, partly because I think these have got the most maths in that, well, for you to do. So let's have a quick look then at 17b. We have got a draft plan of a schoolhouse, obviously not drawn to scale. We've got the plan view, so that's from above. We have got the side elevation, same as the side view, so viewing directly from the side, and this one is the front elevation, or the view from the front. So your first bit you need to do is to, as best you can, sketch a 3D drawing of that schoolhouse, making sure it's labelled with all the relevant measurements, before moving on to how you're going to build it. So part 2, question 2, is about the breeze blocks that you're going to buy to make it, and what you need to be aware of here is we've got breeze blocks in centimetres and we've got pallets measured in units per metre, so check your units there. So check the units. We've got mixed units. Moving on to question 3, a wooden pallet weighs 28 kilograms. Each block weighs 4.8 kilograms, and a pickup truck can just about carry a load of 2 tons. So again, we've got mixed units here, kilograms and tons, and you need to remember that 1 ton is equal to 1,000 kilograms. Now, show that her calculations are wrong. That means you're going to have to do the calculation yourself, and the answer that you will get will be different from what she says. But you need to show the full working for something like that. Moving on to this part. This time, the gable walls, that's these end bits. So if you are looking at this, that's the gable wall. This bit here. So the gable walls are covered in a cement mixture. Use the plans to calculate the area of a gable wall, rounding that's your answer to the nearest square metre. Don't round until you've got to the end of your calculations. And you can see here we've got a compound shape. You can either think of it as being a rectangle and a triangle, or you could always think of it as being, if it's symmetrical, you've got 2 trapeziums that are identical in shape. And again, we've got a question about who is correct to show your calculations. So basically, you have got to do all the calculations, and you use your calculations to make a decision about whether it was Josh or Imran who is correct in their statement. Question 5. I'm going to be using the table here with the sample. Remember, the sample 1. So Maxine, Maxine records the number of damaged blocks they come across. She samples every 100 blocks. So that's a sample from 100 blocks. So this adds up to 100, as does this, and so on. So that basically is 1,000 blocks there. So use the table to come to a conclusion about who is right there, either Maxime or Imran, about the number of blocks that are good or less good. And then finally on question 6, calculate the length of the rafters on the roof. So the rafter is that part. We know that all the way across there, 4.5. We know that, which means we know that, we know that. So looking at Pythagoras there. Don't do question 6b. In order to do question 6b, you need to have done trigonometry, and that is the one thing we haven't done during lockdown, because that needs some proper explanation. Okay, so that's 17b. That should take you one of the lessons. The second of the lessons, 17e. So we're looking at the school garden. So this one's on page 312. So, school helps to grow food for the village. They fence off a plot 20 metres by 20 metres. The head teacher wants to divide the field into 5 sections. 1/4 is for goats. The rest is to be divided up into 4 congruent shapes. So that's 4 shapes that are exactly the same size and shape. Could be different way rounds, but they are exactly the same size and shape. So, obviously, you can't do that first bit. Find the shape which will tessellate for the 4 crops. So to tessellate, if you can't remember what it means it's basically your shapes will fit together exactly with no gaps. So for instance, here is a T shape, which fits with another T shape, which fits with another T shape, and so on. If you can remember what the floor is like in the hall, the parquet flooring in the hall, that's a tessellation. All the blocks fit together, they're exactly the same shape, and there are no gaps. So, second part there, make a sketch of the shape and show its measurements, and then work out the area given over to each of the crops. Question 2. Again, we've got a bit of algebra here. Again, we've got to show your calculations. So you've got to work out, you've got to calculate it yourself and decide whether or not Greg is correct. So remember, there's a question there. If there's a question, you need to make a final answer. So do your calculations and then say, yes, it's the right number, or no, it's not the right number. And that show that your formula works would be, once you've got a formula, substitute into your formula to show that it works. Question 3 is about people making the fence and how long it takes. Okay, question 4. We have got here a rectangular plot. We know its area, we know something about its sides, and it's part A. If the side is X meters long, the long side, write an expression for the short side, you can do that. Part B, you can do that. Part C, you can't do. Part C involves solving a quadratic equation using the quadratic formula, neither of which you've done in Year 9. That's a Year 10 skill, so you can leave that one out. Question 5. Josh and Wawa are preparing a planter for a flower display. The planter is a prism, and with a trapezoidal cross section. The cross section is the same all the way down, and the cross section is a trapezium, where that's 20, that's 20, and that's 40. You can see it here, those measurements. Find the volume of the planter. So you need to remember that volume is equal to cross section. Can't fit it on. height, length, depth, but basically the third dimension. Once you do that, your measurements are all in centimetres, so your final answer will be in cubic centimetres. And then we get this information here. The compost is delivered in a 72 litre bag. So you need to remember that 1 litre is equal to 1,000 millilitres. And 1 milliliter is the same as a cubic centimetre. So 1 litre is the same as 1,000 cubic centimetres. Which means you'll be able to work out this next bit. I like this question. Question 6. Imran puts 3 bags of soil, 2 bags of compost onto the weighing scales and then sits on top himself. And the total weight is 146. Then he does it with different amounts. So in each case you've got 3 unknowns. Let's go to the end. It says calculate the weights of the 2 types of bags and Imran. That's 3 things that you have to find. But you've got 3 combinations, which means you can make 3 equations. And this is simultaneous equations with 3 unknowns. That's simultaneous equations, 3 unknowns, you need to make 3 equations. And then use your equations to eliminate one of the unknowns to leave 2 equations with 2 unknowns. I'll see if you can do it. That's a fun one. Right, well that brings us to the end of the year, Year 9. And we will see you, that means in September. So please enjoy your summer holiday. Put your school books away. Put your computers away so you're not doing any more caboodle. And let's hope we're all ready for a fresh start in September. It'd be lovely to see you all in the classroom. Have a lovely holiday, and as I said, I'll see you in September.